Hey brothers and sisters, it's Paul here again, and our mate Dirawong, he's looking over us from above. He's our spirit guide, as I've mentioned. Now today I'd like to talk a little bit about the political spectrum, but it's actually relevant to the black and white thinking and walking the middle path, which we've discussed previously. So at the moment there's been a lot of conflict regarding leftist thinking and things like that. I've got no problem with not liking the leftist thinking. Okay. What I'd like to show you first is the Illuminati pyramid of power, basically. Now, before we go on, what I'd like to tell you is the best explanation of the difference between communism and fascism. And it's simple. That's what I like about it. I love simple, okay? So, communism is when politics dominates corporations. Fascism is where corporations dominate the politics and business, okay? Now, if you look at the pyramid of power here, you'll clearly see that all those big corporations are listed well above the government, the media, education, etc. And I would put it to you that with political donations these days is nothing more than a legal form of bribery. And who does most of the bribing? Corporations. And then the government does their bidding. So with that in mind, we are well and truly on the right of the political spectrum already. They want you to think that you're on the left and you have to get away from it. But we're actually on the right. Corporations dominate this. Now, I once had some communication with a quite wealthy and influential man in Europe, and whether you believe me or not, I don't really care. His family is in the Council of 300 on this list here. He actually said to me one time, and I hated him for it at the time because I knew he was right. Government is there to facilitate business. That was it. And like I said, I hated it at the time. I really did, but I knew it was true. Now, if corporations are buying political power to facilitate business, we are already well to the right, because it's all about business. Okay? I need you to get this in your head for a second. So now we're going to have a look at this classic political spectrum. So on the far left you have communism, on the far right you have fascism. There for a while they were trying to sell it that, for example, fascism, Hitler was a socialist fascist. You can't be that. Okay, socialism is more to the left, fascism is to the right. You can't be both. Hitler was more into the fascist realm. His mate was Mussolini, who was a fascist. And the guy from Spain, whose name evades me now at the time, he was also a fascist. So, and as a result, this particular picture is quite accurate, where you have fascism on one extreme, communism on the other. Now, I would put it to you that a lot of this anti-leftist the motivation of anti-left thinking is a psyop in itself. Let me explain as I go through. Now, I want you to have a look at this, because obviously this is yin and yang. And the way it is now, with the black coming up the left side, black is feminine and the white is masculine. This next big cycle of time for us is the rise of the divine feminine. Now, the divine feminine has nothing, like I can access my divine feminine, has nothing to do with me being more feminine. And I see the whole trans agenda as a distortion of what really should be going on internally for us on an energetic, not physical level. Okay? Feminine energy is more your intuition, your creativity, etc. Masculine energy is all about data, reasoning, rationalizing, that sort of thing. So it's got nothing to do with actually the sex of a human. So, if the next period of time is all about the rise of the divine feminine, which is the left side of your body and connected to the right side of the brain, but it's actually the left side of the body, and they're telling us all to get away from the left, and everyone's diving down rabbit holes to get information, which is masculine energy. I actually think it's more of a psyop to stop us doing what we're actually supposed to be doing in this spiritual war, which is embracing the intuitive, embracing the creative side. Now, also with that psyop, I think the trap is fascism. Everyone's saying, oh, communism, they're all communist. I completely disagree, and you're welcome to disagree with me, as I said in the last video. If this doesn't resonate with you, feel free to move on. If you like it, great, I hope it helps you. Gives you something to think about. If you're setting a trap, do you force the prey into or away from the trap? Like in Africa, for example, they build these big fences that are basically a field, let's say, with a gate and a funnel coming into it. And then they have what they call beaters, who go through the bush or the jungle, making a heap of noise so that all the animals run away from the beaters, but into the trap. So with that in mind, this whole get away from the left, and I personally think that we're already on the cusp of fascism, and fascism is the trap, not communism. By the way, I've got to say, communism and fascism, like you see them on a straight line in these pictures, if you were to create a circle and you join them, it's very hard to distinguish between communism and fascism. It's just who's on top doing the screwing. In fascism, it's the corporations doing the screwing. In communism, it's the government. That's the simplest form of it. Now, I personally think, one, this whole get away from the left is a psyop so that we don't actually embrace our feminine energy, which is a big part of the spiritual test. And I also think the trap is actually on the right, guys. They are getting you away from the left, and I'm not saying you've got to like or agree with the left, because I don't. Okay? The shit that's going on right now, I don't. They're trying to get you, they've got the beaters on the left, getting you to run to the trap on the right. That's my personal opinion, and you don't have to agree. So, how does this go with black and white thinking? Well, this whole, left this, left that, and they're all this and they're all that. That black and white thinking is why a lot of people can't even see that it's actually fascism and you're being driven to fascism. There for a while, like I said, they had fascism and socialism were the same thing. It was almost like they were trying to sell the fact that there's no problems on the right. All we've got to do is get to the right and we'll be problem free. Are you serious? Do you believe that? Because there's just as many problems there. Which begs the question, well, what's the answer? Walk the middle path. So on this particular picture here, again, we've got communism on the left, fascism on the right, and in the centre we have just general old capitalism. Run-of-the-mill capitalism. Now, here's a theory. It is nothing but a theory. The right tends to benefit the businesses, the left tends to benefit the people. Now, I would like to see, instead of the debt slavery system, I would like to see a system where the economy benefits the people and is there to benefit the people, for the benefit of. Okay? But there will be times where we have to allow business to prosper. Because if businesses don't prosper and the economy does go down the tubes, how does that benefit the people? So sometimes to benefit the people, we would have to allow businesses to profit and prosper and then go somewhat more centre-left. Okay? And when I say left, I'm talking a little bit, I'm not talking capitalism. I'll be honest with you guys, philosophically speaking, I'm more of a socialist where I believe we all put in and help each other. It's about people first, not money first. That's just my personal opinion. Okay? So what I'm suggesting is that yes, we should be walking the middle path politically and economically. We shouldn't be going to extremes of either side. Communism and fascism, if you were to make a circle and join them, you would hardly know the difference. Again, it's who's on top doing the screwing is the only difference, but everyone's getting screwed. So with that in mind, the middle path, which is capitalism, just run-of-the-mill old capitalism, is the centre. But there will be times where we have to allow business to get some momentum so that it can benefit the people. So, I hope that's food for thought. You don't have to agree with it, but we've covered how the black and white thinking, a lot of people are buying into it. And we've also covered how that great advice of walking the middle path can apply not just to me in my daily life, it applies to bigger and better things. As above, so below. If it applies to me, it applies to the general, the bigger picture. Okay? So, hope that was at least something to food for thought to get your mental brain in action, get that masculine energy going. But don't forget, that is the cycle of time we're entering. The rise of the divine feminine. That has meaning. That has meaning. That has meaning. That is the symbol we're on. That is the time that we're entering. So you can stay down rabbit holes and go down data and information and just go all masculine energy. Or you can work out how to walk the middle path and balance them so that you can step into either whenever it's required in your life. And do it with wisdom, knowing that you're using the right application at the right time, at the correct time. All right, guys, that was a little bit controversial, I know, and it was actually deeper than usual. I like simple, but that's the simplest way I could go through all that in a small amount of time. So, with that in mind, you all have a good one, and it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Dirawong, and we'll catch you when we see you next. Ciao for now, brothers and sisters. Have a good one.